Hey friends, my name is Andy. Welcome back to Namaste at Home Yoga. Today we're going to bring it through another free flow practice, kind of just the pick of the day, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun with this one. I'm pretty excited for it. I really do love doing these. Of course, I love all the practices, but it's really fun to just kind of go unstructured and see what happens. So you can find that comfortable seat, allowing yourself to find whatever comfortable sitting position is good for you to start off today. Somewhere that you can allow the sit bones to be grounded, to be anchored here. Allowing hands to rest. Gaze to soften, or maybe eyes to close. As we take a moment to turn our focus inwards. Just noticing first. No rush to change anything just yet. Noticing where we might be holding on a little bit today. If there are areas that require us to be more mindful. And tuning in to the movement of the breath. Let's start to add some depth there. Inhaling to fill through the belly, fill through the chest. Exhaling, we let that chest fall and belly falls. Inhaling, we fill the belly, fill the chest. Exhale, letting that go. One more, even fuller. Maybe bringing to mind a word or a phrase, something positive that you can come back to throughout the practice, whether it is breath, whether it's just flow or movement or letting go, creativity, letting your personal sun shine, whatever suits you today. As we bring those hands through center and chin to chest, softly opening those eyes. Let's inhale, find our tall spine once more, and really gently opening up through the upper body, through the neck a little bit. We'll let the right ear sink towards the right shoulder, finding a breath or so there. As we exhale, chin starts to drop down towards the chest, still towards the right shoulder, but a little bit more of a forward lean. And coming through center, chin to chest. Inhaling back up tall. Let's bring left ear towards the left shoulder. Finding extension through the right side. Exhaling, we start to turn that gaze down towards the shoulder. And once more, chin to chest. Finding your weight back up tall. Let's make our way into a tabletop position here. Hands can come to stack under shoulders, knees under hips. Now are you going to come join me for a bit? Okay. Warming up the spine first as we inhale, dropping the belly, head, chest, and hips lift. Exhaling, we press your hands and knees around the spine. Inhale, drop that belly, head, chest, hips, lift, get light. Exhaling, we round. Finding one more like that. Inhale, open up. coming back to rest in a neutral spine. Let's add a little bit to these now. Lifting through the right leg first as we inhale, lifting head and chest, kicking back and up towards the back of the head. As we exhale, round, pull that knee forward towards the nose. Inhale, we open up, kick back. Exhale, round. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round. Find your way back through center and through 3. Same thing on our second side, evening things out. Left leg, inhale, kick it back. Exhale, press through hands and knee, round that out. Inhale, open up, extend. Exhale, we round. And again, inhale, open. Exhale, we round. Gently coming back to place on the mat here. Take a child's pose with knees hip distance or maybe mat width apart. Allowing the chest to sink heavy, forehead to come and melt towards the earth. At any point, if you're needing a change of pace, please feel free to come back here or to any other posture that feels good and restful today. Start to walk the fingertips forward, really extend the reach. As we inhale, shift forward, finding a kneeling plank, shoulders stack over wrists, and if knees are wide, just bring them back hip distance. Finding a couple of breaths to catch some engagement here. Palms are firm into the mat, pressing it away from us. We're finding a long line from the knees through the back, out the crown of the head. Finding a little bit more movement as we exhale, lowering to hover, not all the way down to the mat, just a half lower. Inhale, we press back up. Exhale, taking a child's pose. Continue to move with the breath. Inhale, shifts us forward. Exhaling, we lower halfway. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come on back. Let's go for one more, warming things up. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, we lower with control. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come on back. Again, make your way through a tabletop and then step the feet up and back, finding your first downward dog of the practice. Take a moment to pedal it out, move it around however you need to really feel good here. And encouraging a little bit more openness through the upper body. Let's drop elbows, forearms to the earth. Keeping them about shoulder width apart. Send those hips up and back for dolphin. Allow the head to relax here, just to hang out. Bending those knees as much as you need. Just a couple more breaths here. Finding our way back up to hands. Let's find our 3-legged dog. Send the right foot high. Bending through that knee, open up right hip over left so they stack. Feel free to stay here or open up, continue to pivot on the foot. Finding wild thing. Hips go high. Letting arms reach. And with control, finding your way back to a downward dog. Move through our second side, left leg inhales high. Bending through the knee as we open it up, left hip stacks over right. Staying here, or opening up for a wild thing. Allowing the right foot to pivot as left foot places. Reaching through those fingertips. And then slowly, with control, find your way back. Downward dog. Let's drop to the knees, untuck the toes. Take a brief child's pose. Enjoying a couple of breaths of rest. Maybe arms reach back past the feet for a little bit more rest in and around the shoulders. Let's continue to move. Walk the hands forward once more. Make your way to a downward dog. Send the right leg high. Stepping between hands. Left heel can find the mat, setting up for warrior two. Go ahead and sweep the arms up so shoulders stack over hips. If we need to, heel toe that left foot a bit farther back. Finding a stance that allows us to get nice and deep into a lunge. Keeping the right knee over top of the ankle, not allowing it to get way past the toes in the front. Breathing in a little bit of lightness to the upper body. And just feel how firmly the feet are really planted on the ground here. Well, let's drop right elbow to right leg, lifting left arm up and past extended side angle. Maybe we stay here. We're going a little bit deeper. Right fingertips can find the mat. Continuing to lengthen through the side. Wonderful. Let's open that left arm up and back, catching the back hip. Hop your back foot in a little closer, gentle light step. And staying here in your lunge, or maybe that right hand finds the mat, maybe a block, something a little bit higher. Shifting more weight into that front leg. Toes can stay touching here, or we start to lift up, opening left hip over right, and get engaged through the legs. Toes flex back towards you. Ardha Chandrasana, or half moon, one of my very favorites when I don't spend a lot of time in. Think about that heel reaching towards the back wall. Balance challenged here. Neck long, crown reaches towards the front. As we exhale, coming back to our lunge, placing gently foot on the mat. Come on up, warrior two. Go ahead and sink in for one more breath. Nice work with that one. Let's bring it on down, frame the foot, step back, downward dog. And let's get into that second side. Left foot comes up towards the sky. Stepping between hands. And right heel finds that mat. Arms sweep to stack shoulders. Finding that solid base. Strong through our feet as the upper body grows light. Finding a bit of openness through the side of the body first here. We'll drop the left arm towards the left thigh. Right arm reaches overhead. Create that long line. Equal pressure through the feet still here, even though we're leaning into that front leg more. Keep the back foot firm. Beautiful work. Staying as you are, where fingertips start to reach down for the mat. Resisting that urge to collapse a bit through the left rib cage. Reach it tall. Almost like a lift up and out of the hips. As you start to open that right arm back, catching the hip. The right foot can start to step in towards us, nice and light. Not the most graceful, but that works, it'll do. Left fingertips find the mat or a block as we shift our weight. Right toes light, staying here, or stepping to lift. Finding that right hip open to stack over the left. Shoulders fall away from the ears. Playing around with your center here. We all get wobbly sometimes, so approach this one without judgment. And with an exhale, we find a bend to the knee. Your right foot finds its way back to the mat. Couple last breaths in our warrior two. Love that. Awesome job. Doesn't matter if the foot stayed down, if we wobbled out. It felt fantastic today. We're challenging ourselves. Next, exhale, windmill those arms down, frame the foot, step in on back. And let's find our child's pose. Drop it to the knees, untuck the toes. Take it easy for a sec. We can start to walk the hands back towards us. If you need, feel free to double up the mat under the knees just to cushion them a bit more as we make our way through camel. Another favorite of mine. We're going to come up so hips stack right over top of the knees. Toes can be tucked or untucked for today. And let's start just by growing tall through the spine, allowing the chest to be proud. And maybe hands come to reach for the backs of the hips, almost like you're putting your hands in your back pockets. Inhales, draw the crown high. Exhale, start to draw elbows back and together, opening the chest. And maybe we stay here today. If this feels great, I invite you to stay, soak it in. If you're craving more here, keeping strong through the core, we start to lift up and back through the chest, continuing to draw the shoulder blades back in together. Gentle back bend. Smooth in our breaths here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's inhale from the core, drawing up. Exhale, take a child's pose. Allow yourself to round. I hope you are starting to warm up a little bit, or that you're getting some good work in. We'll slide the arms forward once more, making your way to a downward dog. And we'll come through to a lizard. Inhale, send that right leg high. Step outside of the right hand. And let's drop the back knee and tuck the toes for today. We'll keep this one on the passive side. Right toes can turn out about 45 degrees. And because we're keeping this passive, normally I'd say hug that knee towards you, keep the foot planted. It's all right for it to roll onto the outer edge of the foot slightly here. As long as your body is saying this is all right, listen to it, and we'll go slow. Maybe staying here just by drawing the chest forward, allowing hips to be heavy. Or we find that gentle bend to the elbows. Maybe we find forearms coming to settle in. Noticing those areas of tension and breathing into them. Be curious with this one. Maybe we find a little bit more of a lean forward, maybe a weight shift back or side to side. Just notice how the sensation changes with tiny slow movements. Wonderful. We'll find our way back to hands if you're on forearms. Tuck the toe back in towards you, plant it firm, and step it back, downward dog. Maybe taking a moment just to pedal out again here. Lots of free movement between things as we're going. Then let's send the left leg high. Step outside of your left hand. Dropping the right knee and tuck those toes and setting up for a little bit more of an opened version of lizard. Left toes can turn out 45 degrees, allowing the knee to open up if it feels okay, if we're able to maintain some good smooth breath. Staying as we are, drawing that chest forward, allowing gravity to work in and around the hips as they sink towards the mat. We can stay tall, or maybe we start to find our way down here. It might be completely different from one side to the other. I'm feeling that today. I'm good on this side, up on hands. Just being mindful, listening to what is enough of a challenge. That same thing that gave us a bit of a wobble in our half moon. That little bit of an edge. Something that we can still work with in our smooth breath. That fine line, a little bit of balance. If you are on forearms, you can find your way back up to hands. Tuck the toes back in towards you, planting that foot firm. Step it on back, downward dog. Finding a little bit more strength, a little bit more stability here. Let's shift forward, high plank. Right hand is going to come to plant under the face. Rolling to the side of the feet, drop a knee if you need, and lifting left fingertips to sky, side plank. For this one, let's think about pressing hips forward, but also lifting them high. Maybe taking a mudra if that is in your practice. Remember what I said about finding that challenge, finding that edge. Maybe we get some good wobbles here. You know your body and your limits. With an exhale, let's bring the hands back to the mat. Take a breath to reset in downward dog. And then we'll find our second side, shifting forward. The left hand finds the mat. We'll turn to the side, right arm reaches high. Hips are lifting, pressing forward. Mudra is there if you would like. And among some of those shakes, can we still feel some of that stability, that firmness, as we press into the ground, maintaining this lift, maintaining our breath. So good. Let's relax that right arm down, bring it back, downward dog, and child's pose. You may have guessed it. It's been a little bit, so let's come back. If you need one of those big sigh breaths, go ahead and take it. We're working hard. Finding some interesting challenges for the body today. Over the next breath or so, please find your down dog once more. This time we'll start to bend through the knees more generously, walking hands back towards the feet. Relaxing in this forward fold. Maybe we bring peace fingers, index and middle, to grab big toes. The thumb can kind of cap that grip. we can relax. Let the head hang heavy. Maybe elbows flare out to the sides. Feel free to rest, or maybe we find gentle micro movements with each breath. A little bit of length to our spine with our inhales. Exhale, sending your sit bones high. It's just a few, so please adjust however feels good. And releasing our grip, we'll heel toe feet mat distance. Toes can turn out a little bit as we send those hips low, finding our yogi squat or malasana. Hands float through center. Chest drawing forward and up. Gentle pressure out and back against the legs. If heels are lifted, that is all right for today. One day they might find their way a little bit closer to the mat. Some days our stance might be wider or narrower. Just letting it be wherever feels all right. Use the hands as you need to. Find your way down to a seat. Allowing legs to come out in front of you, and we'll find a couple of forward folds. Couple of options here, starting by drawing the right heel in towards you. That foot can find the upper inner thigh. Or maybe we find a little bit more intensity today. I don't know what's with me today, but I'm like really feeling like amping some of these up. We're just exploring different areas, I suppose. Can cross that ankle across the opposite quad, not directly on the knee, but coming above it. Maybe heel comes up towards the opposite hip crest, but adjust as you need to. With an inhale, we'll reach tall. Exhale, we start to lean forward, maybe down. And just let the arms fall, let the head hang wherever it rests. Whether that foot is across the thigh or up against the inner thigh. Just seeing where we can let go over the next few breaths here. If your foot is crossed, it'll probably be uncomfortable. Ankles are known to be a little bit on the bonier side. So pressing into that muscle isn't always going to be the best feeling. Challenge is breathing through to relax some of the muscles, and if you are not in pain, hang out. If you are in pain, find another modification. Listening to the body. And find the next breath or so to make your way back up. Extend that right leg out, and let's go ahead and shift sides. Same thing on the second leg, drawing foot to upper inner thigh or crossing over the quad. As we inhale, we'll reach tall. Exhale, draws us forward, maybe a little bit down. This one often is coming into the back of the hamstring, into the back of the calf, into the calf. But with that added cross with the ankle, sometimes this one finds its way into the opposite hip a little bit more. So just noticing where we're feeling these side to side. If there's a large difference from one to the other. But recognizing it without judgment. The best thing we can do is just let our body be wherever it's at. It'll tell us what's an appropriate challenge, as long as we give it the chance to. And keep moving with that breath. Maybe it's just a micro adjustment with an inhale or exhale. And then finding our way back up tall. Release foot back out and away from us. Let's find one more forward fold here, just leaving feet hip distance. Inhale, we'll sweep those arms up. Exhale, we reach forward and let ourselves melt here. A little lean forward, maybe a bit of roundness. Well, ankles can relax, knees get soft, forehead melts. Where is that tension starting to sneak back a little bit? Is it in the jaw? Maybe softening that by gently parting the teeth or bringing a small smile to the face. Is it in the forehead? Maybe shoulders as they sneak up. Breathe into those tight spots. We have 2 more here. Make them good ones. Really fill up the lungs. Find that full empty. And then we'll start to make our way back up. Finding one more hip opener for today. A little bit of a, different position than what we've been opening so far. Finding some different areas in and around the hips. Let's cross the legs a little bit more here. So as long as sit bones are still touching, I am good with that. If this really doesn't feel great to twist tie so much and bring knees to stack one over top of the other, feel free to extend your bottom leg so you're coming back here into kind of that half twist tie up kind of position. This is still going to allow the right hip to open a little bit for you. Either of those options, totally excellent and wonderful. Find an inhale to grow tall. Exhale, see where we can settle in. We will hang out for a few breaths, so this already feels like a whole bunch. Feel free to stay. You really just want to let go again, let gravity do the work here. Maybe we start to round forward a little bit. I often end up using my legs as a little bit of a pillow. Hands can help out as needed. This one can be pretty intense. It's really encouraging you to find the fullest, smoothest breaths you can. Directing the focus there. So we can really use it as a tool to find a little bit of space, a little bit of openness through the hips. Between our warrior poses, our half moon, even right after those cat-cows at the start, we've done a really good job of warming up in and around the hips, creating some active range of motion, some strong movement, stability. Now we allow them to open ever so gently, ever so slowly. Take the next breath or so to make your way back up. We'll gently release that wrap of the legs. Finding your second side, same thing. Opposite leg coming over top. Feel free to bring that bottom leg extended, somewhere that you can bring both sit bones to touch, and finding a bit of a leg crossed over the other. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, we start to soften, we start to melt. Letting ourselves be butter on a hot day. And if this is feeling like very painstaking and very slow, we might be frozen butter. That's all right. It just takes us a little bit longer. Everyone is built different. The body has its own agenda sometimes, its own schedule for what it's going to be okay with. And what I'm encouraging here, what we really want out of these practices is to grow that awareness so we can really work with the body.
not against it. Just giving it the opportunity to open up or to build strength. Sometimes it's hard to say it in a more intense posture like a hip opener, but enjoying the process rather than any of the end products we might be going for. I don't know what brings you to your mat. I'm not a mind reader. But in this moment, this challenge, let this process be part of the reason, even if it is a challenge. Wonderful. Finding one more really full breath. And then we'll start to bring ourselves back up to that tall seat, releasing the legs back out. The knees need it or the hips need it. Maybe we find feet to plant, allowing the legs to windshield wiper side to side. And let's bring it back to your comfortable cross-legged position. Finding a gentle twist to wring things out. We'll inhale, grow tall. Exhaling, right hand finds the left knee. Little shift over towards the side wall. Allowing hands to assist, but our trunk, our core being that driving force of the twist. Exhale, release through center once more. Inhale, tall. Exhaling, left hand reaches across. Wringing things out a little bit. Exhaling back through center. Maybe we bring hands back through center or just allow them to rest on the knees as we grow tall. Quieting the mind or allowing the eyes to close for the next few breaths. Coming back to that word or phrase from the start of class. Finding some gratitude for yourself for doing something new, doing something differently. Really breathing through, being patient with yourself, or finding that challenge, finding that edge. In doing that we will continue to grow in our practice. It's one of the things that keeps me coming back to my mat. We can gently bring the chin down to chest as we softly open the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me for a free flow, a little bit more of an open movement practice, a little bit more really free flowing. I don't know how else to describe it in this moment. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again soon. Namaste.